Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. You are watching Behind the Skies, and today I'm going to show you how to use the PMDG 737 in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So let's go. Alright then, when you first log into the aircraft for your very first time, all of the systems will be on. So what you're going to want to do is come down to the FMC down over here, and you're going to go to PMDG Setup, and then you're going to click on Startup State, and you're going to do Cold and Dark GPU, and select that, and then click Execute. So now, the next time you load it up the aircraft, it's going to be in a cold and dark state, just like this. So what I recommend you do is restart your flight and then get straight back to the video. Okay, now you have restarted your flight, we can come over to the overhead panel to begin with. We're going to want to turn on the main battery, so if you just click on the guard, it will automatically turn the battery on. Then we're going to want to turn the ground power on. If it doesn't have the ground power available light on, you're going to come down to the FMC, FS Actions, Ground Services, and you're going to want to connect the ground power. Once you do, you can come up to the overhead panel and turn on the ground power. You'll hear a few more systems come to life, and then you can arm the emergency exit lights just by closing the guard. Then if we come down to the very left hand side, we're going to want to turn on the fuel pump left aft, and the low pressure light should extinguish just like that, and then we can just double check everything, which looks good. Then if we come further up top, we're going to want to turn on all of the window heats, and we can turn the no smoking signs to the auto position and turn the seatbelt signs on as well. Then if we come over to the pressurization panel, which is over here, we're going to want to put in our cruising altitude, which for me is 23,000 feet. So I'm going to pop that in just like so. That is the overhead panel pretty much done, but we're going to need to come further overhead and align the IRS systems. So we are going to move both of the knobs to the nav position, and then they will start to align. Now we can come back down to the FMC, clearing any master cautions if you have them, and we are going to go to the menu tab, click on the FMC, and if you have nav data out of date, that is completely fine. We're going to go to the POS in tab. We're going to pop in our reference airport. So I'm at Dublin, so I'm going to pop the ICAO code in, and we can pop that into the reference airport. Then we'll click on next page, click on one of the GPS positions, and it will bring it into the scratch pad. Then if we click back previous page, we can set IRS position, and you'll see that everything starts to come to life. Now we have to pop our route in, so we're going to go to the route tab, and as you'll notice, our departure airport automatically gets popped into the scratch pad. That's perfectly fine. We can then pop that into the origin, and then we can put in our departure runway. For me today it's 28 left, so I can pop that in just like so. Now we need to pop in our destination, so I'm going over to Manchester, so I can put that ICAO code in and then put that in the destination. Perfect. That's pretty much it. Now going over to the departure and arrival tab, we're going to click on the departure, select our runway, and then if you have a SID, you can find that here by using the next page and previous page. I'm on the Liffey 6 Alpha, so I'm going to select that, come back to the route, and you'll see you can activate it, but we're going to come back to the departure and arrival tab, go to the arrival, and select our arrival runway. So I'm arriving on ILS 05 right, and I do not have an arrival, so I can just click onto route, activate it, and then click execute. Perfect. Now we're going to come over to the perf init, and now we can pop in all of our fuels and all that kind of stuff. So my cost index today is 35, so I'm going to pop 35 into the scratch pad and click it next to the cost index. You can put in your reserve fuel, which for me today I'm going to take 2.5 tons of extra fuel. And the PMDG 737 is quite clever, because if you click on the soft key next to the zero fuel weight, it will actually pop your zero fuel weight into the scratch pad for you. If you click it again, you can do that. And then you're going to pop your cruising altitude in, which, as I said earlier, for me today is 230. So I can pop that in and then click execute. Then if we come to the N1 limits, that stuff all looks okay. You don't really have to change much there. And now we can set our V speeds. So I'm doing a flaps 5 departure today, so I'm going to pop that in. And as you can see, it has our V speeds already, so we're going to click on the soft keys next to them, and there we go. Clicking next to the center of gravity, it will pop it in for us, and then we can click it again. That is perfect. That's pretty much everything set up, but now we have to program all of our waypoints. So we're going to click on the legs tab, and then we can pop in our waypoints. Now, after Liffey, I'm going over to WOW, and then I can pop that into the then. Then if I go next page, it brings us down a bit, and then I'm going directly to Mercy. Cool. Then I can pop that into the then, and that is all my waypoints. But you'll notice we have a route discontinuity. So we're going to click on the soft key next to the waypoint underneath the discontinuity, and as you'll see, that pops in. Then we're going to pop that into the then, and that gets rid of the discontinuity. Once you've done that, click execute. Make sure you don't have any other discontinuities, which I don't, which is perfect. That is that all set up. Now what I recommend doing is coming over to the other FMC, click on FMC, and then click on progress. That will just give you a bit of progress information. Okay then, if we come back up top, then we can start up the APU. So we're going to move the APU start to the start position. You'll notice it automatically comes back to on. That's completely normal, and the APU should start. You'll notice the APU bug goes all the way up to 7 and then drops back to 4. So once it does that, come back to this video. You'll know when the APU has started up because you'll see the gen off bus here that will illuminate. So now we can turn on the APU generators. Now we're running off of APU power. Now the ground power isn't needed, so we can come back down to the FMC, click on the menu tab, FS actions, ground services, and we can remove the chocks. That automatically disconnects the ground power, and as well tells all other trucks nearby to get out of the way as we are wanting to push soon. So that is perfect. Now we just need to wait until that has disconnected, and then we can request pushback. Alright, that has now disconnected, so I am going to click on the menu tab again, FS actions, pushback, and now I'm just going to do the pushback. So I'm going to select my tug, and I recommend using the PMDG's pushback. It works really well, and if you don't want to buy GSX, which costs quite a lot of money, then this is the way to go. Cool, so I'm going to get pushback, and then I will get back to you. But before you push back, you're going to want to come to the overhead panel. You're going to want to turn on your 2 hydraulic pumps, just so that the pushback tug can steer you around. Now you can go on pushback, and once you do, come back to this video. Okay, now I've pushed back, so we can start up the engines. So we're going to want to come over to the overhead panel once again. We're going to want to turn on all of the remaining fuel pumps and wait until the low pressure warnings extinguish. If you have any fuel in your center tanks, then you can turn them on too. But if you didn't, then I would just leave them off. So I'm going to leave them off as I don't have any. Now we are going to want to turn on the APU bleed, and that's basically all we have to do. Make sure you leave your packs off. if you have your packs on, you won't be able to start up your engines. Now I recommend coming into the default view for this, as it's a bit easier. You're going to want to come look at the engine start panel, move the ignition select to the left side if you're going to start up engine number 1 first, which I am, so then we can move it to the ground position. If you've done everything correctly, you will notice that this percentage will start to rise. Once that gets to 20%, you're going to want to introduce fuel to that engine. So now it's at 20%, I'm going to introduce fuel, and that engine will start up. So at this point that you should have turned on your beacon light and your logo lights as well. And now we can wait for that engine to start. Okay, you'll notice you hear a click when the engine is started. That just turns the engine starter to the off position, which is completely normal. Now you can move the ignition select to the right side, and we can do the same procedure for engine number 2. Move the engine start to the start position, and the N2 percentage will rise. Once it gets to 20%, you can introduce fuel to that engine. Okay, 20% introducing fuel. While you wait for your engines to start up, we're going to come over to the MCP. We are going to want to turn on both flight directors. Once you have turned on both flight directors, you can turn on LNAV and VNAV. And you're going to want to bring up your speed bug to 250 knots just in case the VNAV disconnects itself. Okay, and now you can pop in whatever altitude you want to go to. So I don't have any restrictions today, so I'm going up to 230, and there we go. Perfect. So the engine has started up now, so we're going to bring the ignition switch to both. And we're going to turn on the engine generators for left and right. And at this point we can turn off the APU and turn off the APU bleed. As well, now we can turn on our packs to the auto position. We can turn our yaw damper on, and we can turn on our window probe heats. Perfect. Before you taxi, you're going to want to bring your flaps to the 5 or whatever position you want for takeoff. And once your flaps have come out, you can commence your taxi. Okay, my flaps have come out, so I'm going to release the parking brake, and I'm going to taxi out to the runway. Okay, so here I am at my chosen runway. I'm going to come to the overhead panel, and I'm going to turn all of my lights on, so wing lights, wheel well lights, landing lights, runway turn-offs and taxi lights. Cool, that stuff is all good. What we are going to do now is we're going to arm the auto throttle, and we're going to bring the TCAS to the TARA position, and then when you are ready you can take off. You'll hear call out saying 80 knots, and your V speeds you'll hear V1 and then rotate. When you hear rotate, you're going to pull back on the nose, and then you'll be airborne. So I'm going to go and depart. Perfect, so now you have departed from your departure airport. Whenever you're ready, you can turn on your autopilot, so I'm going to turn it on now, and now you can just sit back and relax until you get to your cruising altitude. On the speed tape, when you get to 1, you're going to bring your flaps to 1 position, and when it says up, you're going to bring your flaps up completely. So now you just get to sit back and relax and enjoy the ride, and I'll get back to you when I get to my cruising altitude. When you get closer to your cruising altitude, or whatever altitude you have selected, you may hear a loud beep. That is completely normal, it's just letting you know that you're getting closer to your cruising altitude. Okay, now I'm at my cruising altitude. You will notice on your navigational display you will see T/D. That is top of descent, so when you get to that marker, you're going to want to descend down to a safe altitude to prepare for your arrival. So you'll see down on the right side, you'll see in purple for me, I have 3,000. So that means by that waypoint, I have to be down to 3,000 feet. So when I get to top of descent, I'm going to pop in 3,000 into the altitude selector, and VNav will automatically descend me down to that altitude, and it will get us down to the altitude we need to be at by the time we need to. So now you just get to wait until that top of descent marker comes, and then you can start your descent. Okay, I'm at top of descent, so now I'm going to bring my altitude down to 3,000 feet, just like so. And you'll notice the aircraft starts to slow down, and you'll soon see it start to descend. So you're going to get down to your chosen altitude, and then you're going to want to come back to this video. So I'm doing an ILS approach, so later on, as soon as we turn on to final, we're going to do a few steps so we can prepare for our arrival. Okay, so we are getting close to turning on to final approach now. So what we are going to do is we are going to click the APP button, like so, and that arms the approach mode. So as you can see, glide path has been captured, and you should hopefully be able to see the airport quite soon. Now what you are going to then want to do is start deploying some flaps. So we're going to want to bring our speed back down. It should go down automatically. You could always use some speed brakes if you're going too fast, but you want to be flaps full by the time you are about 5 to 9 miles out. So we're about to turn on to final, and then it should hopefully automatically descend us down to the runway. So I'm going to turn on to final, and then I'll be right back. Just to slow myself down, and as you can see, the diamonds have started to appear, which is good. That means we are getting close to profile. So to give me some extra drag as well, I'm going to pop the gear down, and that should help us slow down as well. Okay, so I'm going to go flaps 5 degrees now then, and as you can see, we're about okay. Gonna slow down even more now, hopefully. Okay, we could probably do our next set of flaps, so it's gonna slow us down. I may get an overspeed warning, but it should go away quite quickly. Alright, and we'll go flaps 40 degrees. And now we are pretty much fully configured for arrival. So we're going to continue to stay on glide path, and at around 1,000 feet, we're going to disconnect the autopilot and manually fly in. So enjoy the arrival, and I will see you when we get onto the ground. So we're looking good, we're slowing down nicely, we're at 1,000 feet. So I'm going to take control, and I'm going to take control of the throttles as well. Getting a bit high there, so we're going to drop that nose back down, get us back onto profile. There we go. Looking good. Perfect. There we have it, my friends. We have successfully done a flight in the PMDG 737. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, then please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.